Warning, this podcast has stories of real-life events and true crime that happens every day. These stories may contain adult language and graphic or disturbing details not suitable for everyone. Listener discretion is advised.
132 in Bush, I've got him at gunpoint. Check the missiles and pull evacuation at this time. They're pulling them out.
10-1-1, advise ready for camp.
God!
Stories. I'm Tom.
I'm Chuck.
And it's me and not Matt this week.
Yeah.
How was that? How was running the show without me?
Good. Yeah, I think it went a lot smoother than I thought it was going to. It was interesting. No, I mean, I know Matt, he wasn't used to it, so there was a lot of pausing with Matt on some things, and I was like, it's you, dude. He's like, oh,
yeah.
But so it was good. I thought it went well. And didn't think there was any really major issues. So yeah, I think it was a successful run, and it gets people used to hearing another person's voice on this platform that they don't normally hear and that they will hear more of. So I thought it was good.
As we integrate Locker Room and War Stories more over the next couple of months, you know, it was interesting. It's always interesting for me to listen to ones I'm not on, just because I know you guys, and it's, I couldn't make it. So let's back up. This is being released Monday, as normal episodes are, but it's being recorded the previous week. So for those of you that follow the podcast, we didn't have an episode last Monday, and we had to postpone Locker Room from our normal Wednesday live to Thursday live. So if you're listening to this on Monday, this is some Inception shit right here. You're listening to this on Monday after Locker Room came out on Thursday. We are recording it on Thursday before we do Locker Room live tonight. So
Correct.
I have no idea what we're going to say. We can't say anything about last week's Locker Room because last week's Locker Room hasn't happened yet at this point.
That's true. Yeah, it's crazy. That's some mind melting stuff right there. If you start
right. But what I will say is the stuff that we've all had go, like, we try to get these episodes done, either have a guest or a debrief or tell a story or whatever on Mondays, but sometimes real life just gets way too much in the way, and that's kind of what happened. It was -17 at night was the low, and then during the day it was -6. And subsequent to that, as the temperature started to come back up, I talked with one local firefighter who I had to deal with him for a professional call, and we were talking about response times and what they'd been doing that day, and I said something about, getting him all dressed up for nothing. And he goes, oh, no, I was already dressed. This is my 15th one of these today. And I was like, no shit. It was all broken pipe calls. It was all like fire suppression systems and whatnot that were the fire suppression systems. Pipes were freezing and cracking. And then as the water thawed, it broke the pipes and started flooding all these different places. He said he'd been to 15 of them in one day.
Wow, that's
wild. Here's what I've learned. When the pipe breaks and the water starts pouring out of the fire suppression system, the sprinkler system tells the alarm, hey, we're pouring water out. And the alarm goes, well, if the sprinklers are pouring water out, that means there's a fire. And then the fire alarm panel dials the monitoring company and says, this building's on fire. And so the fire department rolls out for an activated sprinkler system that it turns out is just a broken pipe in the sprinkler system.
Yeah.
And that water stinks so bad.
I bet. Probably smells like sewage.
So it's the grease that they put on the pipe fittings when they thread the pipes, and the solder and all these other different things that they do when they when they manufacture or install the fire suppression system. And then they charge the lines, and it sits there. And so all that stuff that's in the lines, they don't clean it out. It's just all the gunk that was in there when they installed the lines is in that water. And so when that water comes out, it is stale, stagnant, greasy, smelly. Just none of us could like. This was my first time being around a fire suppression system with the fire when the pipes burst. It stunk like I'm like something smells like it's burning. Like it smells like an electrical fire, or it smells like a like something. And they're like, that's the grease.
Shit. Yeah. Well, next time it won't smell.
Right. Next time it'll be fresh as a daisy.
Our fire smells great.
And guess what? You can't reoccupy the building or get the alarm to stop sounding until you turn you got to turn the water off to the fire suppression system. Then you got to silence the alarm, because the alarm is still going to tell the alarm company that the sprinklers are going off until you get the pipes fixed and you re-energize and recharge the lines. So I learned all that this week. And
you know what's weird is that it can. It's weird. You could have a pipe break because of cold, but then the water pours out. But if it was cold enough for the water to freeze for the pipe to break, then how is the water coming out?
So here's what this is also what I learned. The pipes freeze, the water freezes. If you're lucky, the pipe, you just have no water until the pipe thaws.
Right.
Those unlucky people, the pipe freezes and cracks. And then as the water starts to thaw, the pressure from the water ruptures the pipe.
Makes sense.
So all those people that had cracked pipes, they now the frozen water that cracked their pipe is starting to thaw. Now they're actually getting the leaks. So it probably cracked a couple days ago.
Yeah. Ooh, what about your house?
I'm knock wood on my head, on my desk. We're doing all right. And so here's the other thing I found out is when the snow shows up before the really cold snap, the snow insulates your house.
Yeah,
but
like an igloo.
But because of El Nino down south, y'all got more water and colder temperatures this winter, which pushes your warmer weather up towards us, which means we got less moisture and more mild temperatures in November, December than we would normally get. I didn't even have white Christmas. Like we had snow once right after Thanksgiving, and then it just didn't come back. And that's so crazy. It rained. It just rained a lot. And it washed all the snow away.
So it wasn't that cold. So
it was not. It was in the high 30s, low 40s, and then there's no snow anywhere. And then the cold snap happens. The second week of January, and we go sub-zero temperatures, and there's no snow on the houses to insulate them, and bing bong. There you go.
Makes sense. The fucking crazy thing is, it's been like 30 some odd degrees when you wake up here, and then by the time it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon too, it's like 77.
Right.
And then 2 hours later, it's 50.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking crazy. But yeah.
So that was my reason why I was dealing with all these emergencies because of this frozen weather. And so I was just unable. And then yesterday, you've been sick, right?
Yeah, dude, I can't catch a fucking break. None of us can catch a break.
Yeah.
Got sick at Christmas, pretty fucking bad. That lasted. It's still there. Like I still have issues in my chest right now. I'm still like wheezy a little bit. I'm still coughing shit up. And then last week, was last week, as we're recording last week, so 2 weeks from when this comes out. All the kids, the youngest, she ended up getting stomach flu, and we didn't know. We were like, why is she fucking throwing up? Like, and it was nonstop on one night from I want to say around 10 p.m. to 4 a.m.
Oh, geez.
Every 15 to 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So we were timing it.
Little kids,
like contractions. No, and then we were getting her up, dude. We went through. I just got some grounding sheets that day too. $110 grounding sheets that you plug into the wall to ground yourself while you sleep. Some hippy dippy science stuff. She puked all over that. Got to sit on it for about 2 hours and then change it out. So she got sick. Yeah. Look into it. Grounding sheets. Yeah, they're pretty cool. I don't know. I'm trying to use one right now. It's been on the bed for 2 days, so we'll see what happens. And then so she got sick. She puked for 3 fucking days. And then on the 3rd day, my second youngest started to vomit. And then the day after that night, my wife started to feel nauseous and she started puking. Dry heaving, because there was nothing in our stomachs to puke because we got nauseous first. So we weren't eating.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day I got it. So it was like a week long of everybody getting it. And I was the last person to get it. So, and then that lasted, I was nauseous for like 3 days. It was a weird stomach flu because it lasted for 3 days, puking for a day, day and a half,
Mm-hmm.
and then nausea the whole time, like unrelenting nausea. So that happened. So he just couldn't catch a fucking break. And then like everybody in the house got it. Everybody.
What's funny is I looked up grounding sheets and it says one of the side effects the first time you use it is nausea.
Damn it, I got my kids sick. No, but it was more.
Right. That's funny.
Only one of them.
So this week, we've had a couple of videos sent in, and one of them went kind of haywire. And so we thought whenever we get enough videos or enough people send us one video, then we stack them up and we do these debriefs and we talk about them. So I thought we'd start with which one do you want to start with?
You know what? Screw it. Let's call an audible. Let's start with the one with the trooper, because that one got the most traction.
Got it. Okay. So this, you want to tee this up?
Yeah. So basically, a state trooper. I don't necessarily know where he's from. So
Your window down.
Pulls over a vehicle, walks up to the passenger side like you're supposed to when you're working a one-man car. Walks up, sees that there's tinted windows, and all manufactured vehicles are on most manufactured vehicles, newer vehicles, they will have their rear glass tinted, whether it be a truck, whether it be a sedan, whether it be a fucking 2-door sports car. One of the most back window that's not the front 2 windows or the windshield will be tinted. It will have a factory tint up to like 35 or privacy glass. It'll be privacy glass.
Right.
So he walks up. So it's a suburban type of car, a Lincoln Navigator. Walks up. You can obviously see there's rear tint on the back window, on the back hatch window. So by default, the side windows will have tint all the way up to the passenger and driver side window. Yeah. And he walks to
a Lincoln Navigator for your own imaginations, for those of you listening and not watching.
Right. Yeah. Lincoln Navigator. And so he walks to the back glass, stops, as you can clearly see, tells the occupants in the vehicle, roll down your windows. And that's when the whole thing starts. They refuse to roll down the windows. He's like, no. He explains the reason why. I can't see through your windows. I'm not walking past it. Roll your windows down, which I'm not going to get into it. So let's watch the video. But that's basically what's going on. Okay. Legal traffic stop.
Roll your window down.
Open my door, sir.
Open your door, roll the window down, one of the two.
That's enough.
No, I have to be able to see their hands. I'm not walking past it. Your windows are too dark.
Sir, where's your supervisor?
You're not getting a supervisor.
Sir, I want a supervisor.
Step out of the car and walk to the front.
Sir, I want a supervisor.
Step out of the car and walk to the front.
For a supervisor.
So he takes
it's a bold
off.
strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Just smacked the lip. Whoop-a!
Perfect.
Get pitted, so pitted.
Get out of the car! Get out of the car with your hands up!
Okay, no, we have to go on.
Get out of the car with your hands up!
Gotcha, bitch!
To preface this, we don't know the reason why the vehicle was pulled over. We don't. It doesn't come with like the reason why the vehicle was pulled over was because of blah blah blah. Whatever. There's probably some sort of vehicle code violation. But in any lawful traffic stop, it is this in a traffic stop. Let me just start with this first. It is a fucking detention. You are not free to leave. You are not free to go. You shall comply with the orders the officer gives you. If the officer wants to see your license, registration, proof of insurance, you shall provide that or provide whatever that you have at that moment to give to the officer, which includes your full name, date of birth, everything. If they want you to roll those windows down, you have to roll those windows down.
Right. And
especially for officer
don't,
safety.
don't fuck around. Like, this is the fuck around, find out part, right?
Yeah.
And so I looked it up. Let's see here. I looked up the GPS because the GPS coordinates are right there on the body cam or on the web.
I think it might be APD.
It is
Alabama or Arizona. It just doesn't look like Arizona, but
it is Arkansas.
Arkansas. They don't fuck around up in Arkansas. Let me tell you what, dude.
Arkansas
do
just
not fuck
outside of
around.
Memphis.
Okay. Yeah, they don't fuck around there.
Yeah, no. Well, okay. So let's start with, if the guy pulling you over is wearing a Smokey the Bear hat, your chances of getting out of a ticket are pretty friggin' slim.
Yeah.
Add to that, if you don't comply with the guy in the Smokey the Bear hat, and I mean a gun and a Smokey the Bear hat, because you have the park rangers, the federal park rangers wear the Smokey the Bear hats, and most of them
Right.
I mean a cop, like state trooper, like county sheriff. That campaign cover.
Yeah.
It's like it's like a you put that on and it changes your personality.
Yeah, highway patrol, dude. You see that son of a bitch walking up, you're like, I'm fucked.
Oh god.
God dang it.
They're like a DI in the military, you know, they're wearing the campaign cover. We had those. It was a city agency that had the blue straw hat ones like he's wearing. And actually, I don't even know that that's a Smokey. That might be that cowboy hat style too.
I don't know. It looks like a campaign cover.
Let's see what Arkansas. But either way, if they're wearing a cowboy hat, you're even more.
You're fucked.
Screwed. I mean, I've seen. Oh yeah, no, it's campaign cover. So it's a Mount Me hat. Anyway, that hat alone, like, then you look at this guy's shirt is so tight. Like he has that uniform tailored. He is 10 pounds a cop in a 5-pound uniform shirt. And
skin tight.
Yeah. Hey, good on him. You know, whatever. Like, he's not fat. He's in shape.
He's squared away. Yeah.
So this guy, we don't know why it smacks to me of one of two things: either an overprivileged a-hole, because the asking for a supervisor thing. Not many people, like, that's a pro tip, right? Of like, I can delay this guy. I can, because at a lot of agencies, including my agency, if somebody asks to see a supervisor and I tell them no, I'm going to get hosed.
Right. So in a lot of agencies, there's that, like mine included. If someone requests a supervisor, you shall get them a supervisor.
Right.
And I'll go as far as my agency got so crazy with this. If they say when you ask them, before you could ask them this, now you cannot in California. Do you know why I pulled you over? If they say, "Oh, it's because I'm black," or "It's because I'm a person of color," you have to get a fucking supervisor. And that's just my agency, and that's other agencies inside of California. However, that is some agencies. There are agencies out there, and many agencies that if you request a supervisor, okay, cool. But no, like, it's not going to happen. There are also agencies in California that if you request a supervisor, they don't have to provide you one. If you want to talk to the supervisor, you can always, call into the station, file a complaint, go to the station, file a complaint with whoever the desk sergeant is, or whoever the watch commander is at that point in time. But there are so many agencies, smaller agencies, and agencies in other parts of this country that they are so short-staffed and so thin that they might not even have a supervisor. They might just have an officer in charge, which could be the senior officer on the watch that they're in charge, and now that they're the watch commander. That happens in California all the time. And just because you ask for a supervisor doesn't mean you're going to get a supervisor, because a lot of agencies' policies, just like a lot of other agencies' policies, you shall get a supervisor. There are a lot of agencies that they don't have to provide you one. That's cool. You want one, but you ain't getting it. And their agent, and if his agency doesn't require you to get one, and it's not a shall, hey, that's cool, fine and dandy. You're not getting one. Roll the fucking windows down. And if it's a lawful traffic stop, you're not free to go. You're not free to exit your vehicle unless the officer asks you to. And if the officer asks you to get out of the vehicle, you shall get the fuck out of that vehicle. If the officer asks for your driver's license, proof of insurance, and identification, and all that good shit, you shall give it to him. If you do not have it to them, you shall give them your name. It is a detention. It is not a consensual encounter. You are not free to leave. And if you are not free to leave and it's a detention, they can pull your ass out and they can even go as far as placing handcuffs on you if you are not complying with the traffic stop. And if you fail to sign a ticket, you can also go to jail. And a lot of agencies have this. If you fail to sign a traffic ticket, you can go to jail, because the idea behind it is you're going to go in front of a magistrate because you violated the law. You're refusing to sign. So now you're going to go in front of a magistrate and have everything expedited for you to determine whether or not you're guilty or not guilty. So it's cute that the guy is like, there's been so many, that's the reason why we want to play this, is there's been so many comments on our Instagram and arguments regarding, well, that cop's an asshole. He's abusing his power. No, he's not. Why? Oh, because he's saying the driver is requesting a supervisor and he's telling him to go pound sand. Okay,
right.
Well, he doesn't have to, and he's asking to roll down the windows. Well, they don't have to roll down the windows. Yes, he does.
Right. It's a lawful order. It's called a lawful order.
Yeah.
When you're given, that's why you have the right to free assembly, right? That's one in the Bill of Rights. But once an assembly is declared unlawful, and you were given a lawful order to disperse, game on, right?
Yeah.
Like that right to free assembly went right out the window because they have declared that an unlawful assembly and you got to go. And you were given a lawful order not to go. And since you didn't, we're breaking out the pepper balls and the dogs and the tear gas and the rubber bullets and the foam 40 millimeter rounds.
Yeah, the dragon's breath.
Yeah, like
not to be misconstrued with fire, fucking like incinerated on Call of Duty. Not that dragon's breath.
We're not talking about dragon's breath shotgun shells. Like
it's a 30 millimeter cannon that basically gets shot at the ground and it comes out like fire, hits the ground, and rubber balls go.
Yep. And the baton rounds where you shoot it at the ground and this wooden dowel is scored and then it breaks into discs and the discs fly up and hit your ankles and your shins and stuff. Oh yeah.
Oof.
Good stuff.
That sounds good.
I've been in one riot, boys, and it was a good time, and it wasn't even a bad one. Like, okay, so we should. I know we've talked to Elliot about the LA riots and stuff, but let me just tell you, man, you want to talk about the Wild Wild West? You get to a riot, and it's all bets are off. You talk about the LA riots and the Watts riots and some of those, like, ooh, gosh, there are a lot of stories that will never be told about that stuff.
Yeah, and we're not talking about the new age LA riots in 2020.
Right, no. We're talking about like the OJ riots, the Rodney King riots.
Dude, we're talking about the riots where they would check out urban police rifles, M16s, with a full complement of ammo. Come back and be like, how much ammo? You only have one mag left? Okay.
Yeah. Well, there was a pile of ammo. There was a pile of ammo that just said, help yourself. There was no, like, nobody was counting rounds and nobody was asking questions.
And that ghost stories about this
the roof Koreans and all that stuff. Like, roof Koreans are like, look up roof Koreans. If you've never Googled it, you will see Korean business owners in black neighborhoods with high powered rifles sitting on top of their roofs, like snipers in a guard tower, making sure ain't nobody come within riotable distance of their business.
Yeah. Or in Koreatown, where like they were all at. They were on top of their roofs. The rooftop Koreans were on top of their roofs and would fucking shoot at you if you tried to go in and vandalize their store and basically pillage their shit because of all the stuff.
A mutual friend that we both know. I don't know if he's told this story on the show. I don't know if we can say he told this story, so I will just say went to a call as a dead rioter in the street in the south end of town. So you can imagine, like, they're going to lots of these calls with young black males dead. This guy's shot in the street, and they look at the body, and he's 2 doors over from a liquor store, and they look at the liquor store, and up on the top of the liquor store is a Korean with a rifle. And they look at the Korean with the rifle, and they look at the body, and they look at the Korean with the rifle, and they look at the body, and they kind of go, like arms up in the air, like, what happened? And the Korean goes, I don't know, shrugs his shoulders, and they go, okay. And they scoop the body up, throw it in the Suburban and take it to wherever they're collecting bodies for the morgue. Like it was insane.
Crazy. Yeah, it was crazy.
Let's
Fucking
talk
crazy.
before we move on to the next video, because we mentioned California's new law. So for those of you listening to this show in another state, this would be an interesting debate to have. Maybe it's something we could bring up on a show where we have Matt and Marco, because I would be interested to get their non-law enforcement opinion on this. Okay.
Right.
California just passed AB 2773. And there's a lot of things like each agency that employs police officers shall blah, 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 right? You got to begin collecting. Now, it only applies to certain agencies that employ 1,000 or more. So basically, LA County Sheriff, LAPD, Highway Patrol, like big, huge agencies, right?
Yeah.
But here's some of the stuff: date and time and location of the stop, the reason for the stop, the result of a stop, such as no action, warning, citation, property, right? If a warning was issued, the warning provided or violation cited. If an arrest was made, what was charged, no big deal. Number 6, the perceived race or ethnicity, gender, and approximate age of the person stopped, provided that the identification of these characteristics shall be based on the observation and perception of the peace officer making the stop, and the information shall not be requested from the person stopped. In other words, what race did you think they were?
Yeah.
Which
You can also say you can't tell.
I mean, but still, like, it's now we go through all the reporting of what they're required to do, because there's some of this stuff that's because there's specific sections for rail transit safety cops and all this other stuff that they have to report. But the big takeaway from this is it took effect January 1st of 2024.
Really?
Requires police to tell motorists the reason they are being stopped, unless the officer reasonably believes that withholding the reason for the stop is necessary to protect life or property from imminent threat. The only thing that's not clear is whether an officer's refusal to disclose the basis for a stop was reasonable. A state board has been considering regulations to require officers to tell their superiors and the state why they believe full disclosure would endanger them. So basically, the process or the practice of pulling somebody over going, hey, do you know why I stopped you? Is gone.
You can't. You can't
Right.
do that anymore. It's fucking stupid.
Okay. Now, this is what I wanted to get into, because I'm on the fence. I don't think it should be made into law, but what I taught my trainees was, unless you have a reason not to, tell them the reason you stopped. Don't ask them. Don't ask the question. Just be like, hey, my name is Officer So-and-so. I stopped you today for going too fast or speeding. I see your driver's license, registration, and insurance. Start with it, right? And I was taught that, and I taught that because it ends a lot of arguments, right? There's a lot of things that you can head off at the pass, as it were, and not have to deal with by just telling them ahead of time. You can still do a full investigative stop, but the difficulty that it gets into is things like wall stops, or pretext stops, which are technically legal under the Constitution. The Supreme Court has deemed pretext stops, where you stop them for one thing but really you're investigating another, as lawful, as constitutional. But there are a lot of agencies, and I believe even the state of California has made them against policy, right? You can't do them anymore. Which, hell, do you know how many DUIs I took to jail because they ran a stop sign, or they didn't have their I got a lot of dope for people that didn't have their license plate lights lit, and we used to call that the A-town felony, where somebody's driving down the street with their license plate not lit. You'd stop them from that, and they'd have warrants and dope and all kinds of shit. The vehicle code used to joke that it's 40,000 pieces of probable cause to stop a car, and then it's up to you to be a good investigator to get in the car.
Yep.
So I have a hard time with the fact that they had to make this a law. Why did it have to be a law?
Yeah.
Right? Why did you have to say you are required by law to tell the person the reason you stopped him?
Yeah.
That should be common damn sense for police officers. But I don't want us to lose, or cops to lose, the ability to do the aw shucks during a stop where they need to buy a little time because there is more going on. Does that make sense?
Yeah. There was a traffic stop near LAX years ago. Let's say, for sake of this podcast, 6 years ago. Maybe,
Okay.
yeah, that's 6 years ago. It was a traffic stop, lawful traffic stop. Long story short, because of good investigative skills and whatever, they were able to find out that this guy was a domestic terrorist planning attack of explosives on a target. Roll back to his pad. Warrant was done. His place was fucking booby trapped. And they were able to go in and recover bomb making material, made bombs, and basically like a manifesto. And they had already found some in his car. So where was he going? Who knows? But he was up to no good if he had a fucking bomb in his car and he had more bomb making materials and more bombs back in his location, his pad. So you look at that and you're like, oh, that's fucking great job on the cops. Yet if it was today, that dude would just started blowing shit up because the cops aren't able to pull those people over now. They're not able to do the investigative stops like that anymore because of this law. And so you're going to see so many criminals and bad shit happen and get away with it just because you can't pull them over. Like if you used to be able to see if someone has like a CD hanging in their windshield, right? Of their review, that's illegal because it obstructs the view, right?
Right.
And you used to be able to pull over for that. And that was a good pretext stop. May not cite for it, but I'll give them a warning, but I'm going to use it to stop and talk to them. And I'm going to get their full name and everything and run them for wants and warrants. And if that person comes back with a warrant, I'm in the car. If they come back with something and I'm like, hey, exit the vehicle, or just they come back and, whatever, and you just ask them to get out and you ask if you could do a pat down, right? And they go, sure. And you find dope on them, the car's yours, right? And
let me back up. Part of that,
but
cops shot themselves in the foot because if you have, 4-inch fuzzy dice hanging from the windshield or hanging from the rearview mirror, each dice is 3 or 4 inches. That's, 6 to 8 inches of blacked out space right in the center of your windshield, depending on how low it's hanging. You could articulate that as a vision obstruction. That was how the law worked. Right. It didn't say you can't have anything hanging from your rearview mirror. It said you can't have anything that obstructs your view out the windshield.
Right.
Well, the second you start pulling over somebody for having a necklace with a crystal or a rosary hanging from their rearview mirror, and you're saying that's a vision obstruction, that's fucking thin. And that's where like you overuse shit. And then same thing with the taser. I told my guys, I'm like, stop fucking tasing all these people. Go hands on. Don't be afraid to go hands on. Get in fights, right? The taser, it's not like if you start handing out tasings like candy, they're going to take it away. And lo and behold, what happened? They started getting more restrictive and policies started changing. And people got shot, that could have been just fought because somebody reached for a taser when they didn't need to and accidentally grabbed a gun, a firearm.
Yeah.
And hindsight's 2020, right? I wasn't there. I wasn't in the moment, but I am saying that a good old, maybe I'm a little biased. I was an arrest and control instructor. A good old fashioned ass whooping, a good old fashioned Donnybrook was a good time. And you handed somebody their ass, you put them in cuffs. Maybe you got a torn uniform, skin knee, split lip, purple cheek, whatever. But you took the guy to jail. You won. You had a fight. It's all good.
Right.
And we went away from that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And now it's like you can't fucking do anything. But to real quick, to circle back to the original video that we showed.
Yeah.
That cop did everything legal, above board. You don't have to be kind and gentle to everybody. He was stern. He wasn't rude.
No, wasn't rude.
He wasn't disrespectful. He was stern. He's supposed to be stern. Where does it
And-
say in the law that cops have to be pussies or cops have to be,
Polite.
sir, please
Mm,
exit your vehicle? No. Get out of your vehicle or roll your windows down. This is a
Right.
lawful stop, and then we can talk.
And
No,
the
no,
guy
fuck
took
you.
off. He didn't even
Yeah.
sit there, and he didn't sit in his car and wait for a supervisor.
Nope.
He took
Now it's
off.
felony.
Now,
it's
like,
felony.
right, yeah. So now, and then he get pitted. You know, this is a guy. The cop. Okay, I can't think of how else other than if he violated his own policy by telling him now you're not getting a supervisor. Maybe that's in policy for him. It wasn't for me, so I can't even judge that part of it.
Right.
All I can say is that dude fucked around and found out, and he turned a ticket into a pit maneuver arrest at gunpoint.
Yep. And the pit was lawful. And when you post pursuit tactics, if someone runs from you, they're up to no good. So a reasonable person would think that they're hiding something, concealing something. They're trying to flee to get away. You are allowed to draw your weapon because now they're fleeing to get away. You don't know what's in that vehicle. They wouldn't show you. So all of the totality of the circumstances, you draw your weapon. You're completely legal. If someone flees from you and you're now in a pursuit and you have a clear road, which he did, and you're at the right speed limit, you can pit. Right. It's completely legal. So all these people on Instagram crying that wasn't legal, that one, fuck you, is legal. You're just mad because you don't like cops. It is what it is. Don't fucking break the law and don't evade police and don't run from them for no fucking reason.
So now our theme, I believe that we kind of have established our theme for this episode because all of these videos in one way or another, with the exception of the last one that we threw in for shits and giggles, all of these videos are failures to comply. So let's look at another failure to comply. This is some TJ Hooker shit. For those of you who don't know, TJ Hooker was a cop show, a really bad 80s cop show, like think Knight Rider era, right? It was on the same time as Knight Rider, Fall Guy, so like mid 80s. William Shatner, Captain Kirk himself, played a cop that worked for, like, it was supposed to be LAPD. It was not clearly, like they tried to make it LAPD, but they couldn't make it LAPD because of the insane shit they did on the show. And LAPD was like, you don't,
We're not putting our fucking name on that, dude.
On that shit. Famously, William Shatner always seemed to find a reason to hang on to the hood of a car like an action movie star, and while the car was driving. Well, this officer may have seen one too many episodes of TJ Hooker. Let's watch.
The car! Stop the fucking car! Stop the fucking car! Stop
Yeah,
the
those of you listening to this.
Stop it! Stop the car! Put on the
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. He's got his gun drawn and he's standing in front of the car. In front of the car, like at the hood. He is the hood ornament at this point, pointing his gun through the windshield at the driver. And I don't know what the reason is, but the guy's saying it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, right? Second cops have a gun pointed at you, it's a big deal, right? Mm-hmm. You can argue about whether they should have later, but when the gun is pointed at you is not the time to have your argument. That's just that's a pro tip. But if this is you and you're that jacked up, stop the car. I mean, you can hear he is yelling like he's in a firefight. Yeah. He is so jacked up, right? So as we continue, there's also another officer at the driver's side window. So there's no requirement for him to be standing in front of the car other than he's trying to stop the car from driving away, I think. Well, drive away.
Stop it! Stop the car!
And the police officer climbs on the
brakes! Stop the fucking car! Stop the fucking car, man!
He's literally driving down the street, and the guy speeds up.
Holy shit!
Yeah, you can hear that engine. The cop is on now he's on the roof of the car, and now he's just holding on for your life. While the guy heads for train tracks, the train is going. He can't cross the train tracks. The train is there. So he heads into a tanker yard, like these are 18-wheeler tankers. And And now we're seeing this from the dash cam. The pursuing vehicle. The cop is hanging on for your life. Homeboy hits a dip, like a hard dip,
Totaled.
and the cop goes flying off. And then I don't know if you guys heard that right at the end. Let's see if you can hear it like I did.
I need medic.
I need medic. That's because she just saw her partner bounced off of the car onto the ground.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened to him. But
He fucking got fucked up, dude. There's no way. 40-mile-an-hour bump to ground. You're breaking something.
maybe some ribs at a minimum.
Shoulder.
Shoulder.
Fucking
tearing some cartilage, tearing some ligaments, tearing some soft tissue.
You're out for a while on this one, if not totally disabled after this. Like, you could break your hip.
I mean, dude, what the hell was this guy thinking?
I don't know. It goes like, well, both of them, the cop and the suspect. What the fuck are you thinking? It goes risk versus reward. Is the risk enough for your life and other people's lives and putting in danger? There is no point. And like I always say, I always try to argue for the cop, but there is no point in which you should be on someone's fucking hood when you have every means to get the fuck out of the way. An arrest isn't that fucking important. You know, if he flees and he's trying to flee, get in your fucking car and follow him because it's safer. Do not put yourself in peril and in jeopardy and the public in peril and jeopardy, because if this guy was to crash into, say, someone crossing the street with their fucking kid, and smoke check them, you are at fault. The cop is, because you created this situation. Whereas if you would have just let him take off and run and get in your police vehicle and enter into a pursuit and he hits a fucking person, it's on him, not on you. But because you basically escalated the situation, right, to hop on the vehicle and point the gun at him. Now, you could have pointed the gun at him, and the moment he started coming forward, you have to get out of the way. You can't just start unloading into the fucking windshield, because you have every reason or every ability to get the fuck out of the way, because you're not in, like, let's say, an alleyway. If you were to stop this vehicle, it's in an alleyway. Let's say it has a, fucking murder suspect in there, right, or whatever, and they start to try to run your ass over and you have nowhere to go and other than hop on the fucking hood and start delivering rounds into the car. All right, then that's what you're going to do. But that's like the most egregious fucking example where you have a murder suspect, you're in an alley, there is no way to get out. And not to mention, if you had a murder suspect, you don't even need to get on the hood. If you were in something like this, you could just step to the side and load in the car because it's escape of a violent fleeing felon. However, we don't know what's going on with this. I would probably bear to say maybe the dude's got a warrant. Maybe he fucking did something crazy vehicle maneuver and they pulled him over and they don't want him to go away. So they create contempt of cop and hop on the car.
Okay. I can't think of a single charge, even rape and murder. You can get him. You'll get him later. Like, unless he's got a nuclear bomb that he's going to detonate in front of a school. Right. And so here's what I'll tell you, right? There is something to strive for when you're learning to be a cop or when you are doing the job. And that is to be this guy during a pursuit. I'm going to give you a little, I'm going to break out my acting skills for a minute and try and give you a dramatic reenactment of what the best cops I ever worked with and what I strove to sound like on the radio during a pursuit. Here you go. Ready? Eastbound Main Street, approaching 30 miles an hour. 14 continuing now northbound on 5th, 32 miles. 14, we're now making a U-turn. Please turn back around. Speed turn up 5. Okay, he just threw something out of the window at the 1800 block. Okay. All right, pursuit terminated. I'm going to need additional units for felony stop. One at gunpoint. Like, that is how calm you should be. Mm-hmm. It should be.
Right. Yeah. Like, you can always tell a new officer or an officer who's never been in a pursuit or anything like crazy because they are panicking. You can hear it in their voice.
Right.
And generally it's pretty green, officers. But listening to your example, and then but you can hear the broadcasting officer. It was pretty like calm.
Yeah,
Like,
the
tell that
backup
people
officer
move.
in the pursuit,
Yeah.
even when I think it's a girl. She goes, I need medics.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
man, fuck.
I
That's
know some.
I put out like this is like 48 on Hurricane. I got 4 at gunpoint. I'm code 4. They're like confirming you have 4 at gunpoint. Yeah, I've got a unit en route. We're code. Like it's like I've got 4 at gunpoint. I don't need everybody hauling ass to come over here and save me. I'm good with A, myself, B, the person I've got with me, and C, the people that are en route. Like because a lot of departments, as soon as you put out someone at gunpoint or you put out someone failure to yield, all the rookies get all jacked up and they start hauling ass towards you, and they'll crash into each other. They'll crash into civilians. They'll like it just slow it down, calm down. You'll be all right.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that. I've also seen, there's a terminology that some big agencies use. And they use, like, if you're out on some gangsters and you're like, say you're out like 4 or 5 gangsters and it's you and your partner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, show me code 6 George and 5.
Yeah,
it's telling everybody else you're code 6, so you're at scene on 5 known gangsters.
Right.
That means everybody should be coming to your area where you just put out your stop to give you assistance because they're known gangsters and you're outnumbered, and they're known to carry guns and weapons and shit like that and fight and whatever. Then there are parts of the area that I worked that I would put that out, and I would have fucking two units there within fucking a minute.
Yeah,
I put that out in a different area, and they're like, "What's that?" And I was like, "What?"
It's not common.
Give me just units.
So, for example, code 6, we didn't use code 6, right? We used 10 codes, right?
10,
but we'd get somebody that say, you'd run somebody, and this is why I loved earpieces, right? Wear an earpiece, guys. I know it sucks on your ear holes, but wear an earpiece because you're talking to somebody, and the dispatcher goes, Adam 12, is your radio clear? Or Adam 12, 1036. Or one of my favorites, 1036 is confidential information for those who don't know 10 codes. So it means they're about to tell you something that you don't want other people hearing, right?
Right.
The best one, the best dispatchers would go 1 Adam 12, code 6 Frank at the corner of Walk and Don't Walk. And that's all they would say. Or 1036 Frank at the corner of Walk and Don't Walk. And then I'd say Adam 12 standby. And I knew what she was telling me was she's about to read back a felony warrant. Right. And so this is a wanted felon. Right. And because she put out the code 6 Frank or the 1036 Frank, and she put out my location, now all the other cars are going to start to roll, and you'd hear people, Adam 16, I'm en route. Adam 24, I'm closer. I'll be there to back, and everybody starts going that direction because they're good cops. Right.
Right. Exactly.
And then once you hear a good cop going to back up your buddy, you can slow roll and only go if they ask for an additional unit or to ask for additional bodies. Those are the shorthand things that you should be developing. I worked with partners, and I would tell them, hey, if I ever get taken hostage, God forbid, and somebody's got a gun to my head, I'm going to say now. And when I say now, I'm going to go dead weight limp and shoot that motherfucker.
Right.
So
duck and fucking go.
Like I'm going to say now, and I'm going to drop dead weight and expose them. And when I say now, shoot as soon as I'm clear, because you will have a half a second to a second to smoke this dude before he can react and maybe shoot me as I'm laying on the ground. Right. So have those conversations, right?
Exactly.
Have conversations where you're like, dude, what are you doing? Get off the hood. Right. Like, talk to your partners, be prepared, but stay calm, even with people who refuse to comply.
Yeah.
You have all the time in the world.
Yeah. And I don't see in any world where this fucking dude's not taking days on the beach, bro. I just don't think that this is good optics for one, cops, and two, your tactics. This is fucking poor tactics because now you are creating an undesirable tactical position. If it leads to a shooting, tactics leading up to the shooting are going to be out of fucking policy. Bad news bears.
Yep.
And where your shooting might be in policy because the dude's fucking taking off with you on the fucking car and you're trying to, but even then, if you shoot him while he's driving, you're in a ghost riding vehicle, like you're fucked. And if he goes limp and hits the accelerator, you're fucked even harder. So the tactics leading up to it are going to be bad. So now you kind of pigeonhole yourself. Well, now if I get into a shooting, I might get fucking fired or filed on because I created a deadly force situation that shouldn't really have been a deadly force situation where there wasn't one, you know? And so I don't really know we don't know why this was, why the cops pulled this dude over. But what we can say is that you shouldn't have hopped on the hood. You created an undesirable position for yourself and for the rest of the public. And you're probably going to get fucking fanged for it pretty hard. Bad on you. Learn.
You kind of deserve it.
Yeah, and do better next time. But like you're fucked on this one. Like,
if you just take days on the beach, count yourself lucky. Take your days, learn your lesson, and go back to work.
Right.
All right. This one is failure to comply. I don't even know how. Like this one's got an announcer with it, so hopefully we'll get more of the story. But from what I saw, I'm like, oh, God, I got to show this to Chuck. So this is San Diego, California.
Right.
Here you go. So
booked in. But when she opens the door, she sees that the man has slipped out of his handcuffs. As the officers gather to recuff the man, they realize that he has acquired a gun from inside of the cruiser.
Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Hands. Let me see your hands right.
Okay. Where to get a gun from inside the cruiser? Is that a bad search? Because he's in the cage in the back.
He probably reached the few. So in a lot of transports, a lot of cars in California have that plastic partition, right? Instead of like, I see a lot of sheriffs, they won't have the plastic partition. They have bars, right? So if it's the bars and they can fit his hands through, like you see right here. So I would assume San Diego probably has the bars right behind here. He can reach his lanky ass in and grab whatever. So if they find
how did he get it?
Whip.
How did he?
When you're talking to someone, you move the fucking glass partition, the plexiglass partition halfway so you can hear them because it's really muffled back there as you're talking and getting information.
We locked ours down. You couldn't move it. I didn't give a shit. It was a plastic. It was plastic on one side and expanded metal, rubber coated expanded metal on the other. So they could, you'd sit them on the passenger side so they couldn't spin on the back of your head, and you'd sit on the driver's side and they could talk through the mesh. But here's the thing.
Yeah,
there is no world in which he should be able to reach into the front seat and obtain a weapon.
No,
I don't care what. Like, was your shotgun and rifle rack unlocked?
Well, I think he's got a pistol, bro.
Like,
so it's like it's either her backup,
right,
or his gun,
or it was a bad search. Okay, so back to the
right now. Sees he has your. He's got a gun. He's got a gun.
No.
Watch your crossfire.
You guys. At least he said it. At least he said it. Crossfire. Watch your crossfire.
Yeah.
They now have a guy at like the B pillar pointing his gun into the back seat, and a guy at the C pillar on the opposite side of the car pointing his gun into the back seat, and then a guy at the C pillar on the same side. So they've got a triangle, but two corners of that triangle are pointing their guns at each other. And at least he says, you can hear him. He says, "Watch crossfire."
Watch your crossfire.
Here is a good example of crossfire, and the officers do call it out.
Bro, let me see your hands. Stop. We don't want to shoot you. Nobody wants to shoot you, bro.
Props to this officer for realizing that he is an open target.
Let's back up. Let's back up.
Yeah. Dude, get the fuck. This is so bad.
The man opens the door through the broken back window with a handgun in his waist. They shoot the man as he tries to get in the front of the car, as he would become a greater threat.
Oh, he's already bleeding. He's been hit. So now he's trying to get in the front.
It is important to note that this officer is standing quite a ways back behind her partner, and her partner can at any point move into her line of fire. To correct this, it is a good idea to take a step forward and communicate with your partner. The officers did a great job of giving the man all of the opportunities to surrender.
Sending the dog. Okay, this is my favorite. This might be my favorite part of this whole video. So Chuck,
I've got background on this, by the way.
Okay, cool. He goes to open the driver's side door. They put rounds in him. He's already lit up because you could see he's bleeding pretty profusely from a torso wound. He's lit up, right? Now watch him. He lays down in the fetal position, but I think at some point his body realized that bullets are spicy. Because watch his feet. Watch his feet.
It is important to note that this officer is standing quite.
He starts kicking his legs like he's trying to run away on the ground. And I think his body realized that bullets are spicy. So then they send the dog, and he is taken into custody. Did he survive?
I'm looking, trying to read.
Well, give us the background.
Hold on.
Yeah, because I'm super curious how.
I'm trying to see if he survives.
No, just start with the.
It's long, dude. I'm going to paraphrase all of it.
Okay.
First aid until the paramedics arrived. Bergen was transported to hospital, non-life-threatening. Oh no, he left.
Yeah, he did.
So he was basically stopped for under the influence for methamphetamine, and he was also arrested for receiving stolen property and cards not belonging to him, like identity theft type of shit,
right?
Like credit cards and shit. The gun he armed himself with, get this,
it says
her fucking backup, dude. Her backup gun. In what fucking world? Or is your backup gun not on your fucking person? And if you're like, oh, well, I was at the jail, so I started downloading my shit. Burp. Pause. Let's look at this in a different lens. Get the fuck out of the vehicle. Go to the rear of your vehicle, which is completely encased in fucking steel, and download your weapons there.
I got it.
Don't
you ready?
Download them in the fucking passenger seat.
You got it? I got it. You ready? Officers took the 25-year-old San Diegan, identified by police as fuck you, into custody without incident, police said, and transported him to SDPD headquarters, where he was left alone in the back of the police vehicle. However, officials said Bergman slipped off one of his handcuffs, broke a plexiglass barrier, and gained access to a backpack in the back seat of the SUV that contained an officer's secondary handgun.
Oh, shit. It was in the back seat then?
It was in her backpack.
Like
I think they meant passenger seat because he's clearly in the back seat, right?
Yeah. Well, I meant like the back hatch area.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was the back hatch area or in the front area.
Because that should all be steel behind your head.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
there should be no reason why.
Gun in your backpack. Why do you have a gun in your backpack at all?
The only thing I can think of is you're there at the jail, so you can't take your gun in. So she downloaded her weapons, yet she still had her sidearm on her. So in what world would you go out on fucking patrol?
They're at the headquarters. They're in the parking structure. They don't have to disarm in the parking structure. She didn't have to download her weapons until she gets him inside towards the holding area where they have fucking safes for this very fucking thing.
Right. For us, what we would do is we would run 2-man cars. And if we ran one, but we were transporting, we always had 2 for safety. So you would hop out, you go to the trunk of your vehicle in the old Vicks, or with the new Suburbans.
Trunks are different.
Right. And the new Escape or the Explorers, we would go into the rear. However, it was encased in steel. So behind the suspect's head is steel. Like you can't, you ain't getting that. You're not breaching it unless you have a fucking shape charge. Like it's just not happening.
Put a damn lockbox back there if you're going to do that. The trunks were great because here's what I was taught. Put it in the trunk. Don't put it in the locker at the jail because inevitably you'll get a call. You'll leave the jail. You'll forget your gun.
That's why we didn't do that.
Trunk, right? But that's a trunk. You have to have a key. It's steel trunk. And then the seat, the stab proof seat, all that shit. They can't get to it. They can't get to anything. Don't put a fucking gun in it. Don't put a fucking gun in a backpack. Don't put a fucking gun in a backpack.
And don't leave it on your fucking passenger seat.
Don't put a fucking gun in your backpack and leave it unattended. All the guns should be on you or locked in a container where nobody else can get to them. If you don't have a steel trunk or a steel lockbox, get one. Bolt it down. Do whatever. This is just dumb.
Yeah, there should be no reason why that guy should be able to arm himself with an officer's weapon, and especially a backup. And let's face it, if you put your backup, because what probably happened is she went on patrol. I don't want to wear this thing. I'm gonna throw it in the backpack. If I fucking get to a hot call, I'll grab it and I'll throw it in my pocket.
Yeah,
right?
her go
I don't
bag.
want to sit on it. I don't want to. Yeah, you never go out on patrol with your backup in the bag, unless it's an active shooter, the go bag, where you have like another fucking like 30 round magazine, fucking a bunch of other shit for your shotguns and for your M16. That's different, but that should never be in your fucking passenger seat. Or I used to see this a lot. We used to have our little range bags, which is a little go bag, but it was for active shooter situations. And we would keep it under our
magazines.
We would keep it under our driver's seat or the passenger seat where we were sitting, or at our feet in case shit popped off. We could grab it and go, so that you weren't thinking. However, it would never be on our passenger seat. Like we wouldn't.
There was no gun in it, right? There was no gun.
No, it was just rounds. It was fucking extra rounds.
It was trauma. Okay, throw a fucking live round at me. Watch what happens. I don't give a shit, right?
Yeah, every once in a while I would see someone with a fucking another Glock in there that they wouldn't wear on their person, and they're just like, this is strictly like if I have to have 3 guns and I'm going to put it in my other pocket in case I run dry, I still have this one.
Nope.
Here's what it is.
All right, so this last one is just fun. Matt sent this, right? And well, other people sent it too, but I think Matt sent it to us. And this is just like, we posted it. This is just unfortunate because, well, we'll just play it. Ronald Bill. And so this guy being led down the stairs. You see, this is a video from across the street through the window, and I'll do a little play-by-play. The cops are bringing him down the stairs. He's in handcuffs. The video is being shot from across the street through the window. You see the suspect at least 2 or 3 steps below the officer that's escorting him down the stairs, who has his flashlight out. It's at least 1, possibly 2 cops at this point, but you can see 1 for sure. As they approach the bottom of the stairs where the video is being shot through the window, the suspect dives headfirst towards the glass, gets hung up on the window pane, falls down from the 3rd story, smacks a concrete ledge on the 2nd story, and then smacks the concrete. And the cop upstairs just kind of looks out the window and points his flashlight down at the ground. And then all of a sudden you see like a cop walking up like, oh shit. I mean, I don't know what you do about that one.
It's a tough one because the moment you put handcuffs on someone, they are your responsibility, basically. And if something like, say they trip and fall, then you're in handcuffs, like walking downstairs, and they hurt their face, you can get in kind of trouble for it because you put them in handcuffs. You were supposed to be escorting them and making sure it's safe. However, there is a gray area. Just because you put handcuffs on them and they do something stupid, like they take off running real quick, or they jerk their arms and then they fucking dive, right? Or you have your hands on them and you're not expecting them to jump out a fucking window, so you have a light C grip.
Yeah, you have no reasonable expectation
under a reasonable
he's going to do that.
And then they jump out the window. The officers aren't going to be held accountable. However, they're going to be arguing the fact that the officers, once they put them in handcuffs, that was their responsibility. And because that suspect jumped out the fucking window, if they had a proper grip on that suspect, he would have been unable to do so. So because the suspect was a couple steps in front of them, they might get fucking in trouble. Do I think they're going to get indicted for this? No. I've seen a suspect at the fucking jail, handcuffed, take off from the officers. They got him out of the back. They're like, hey, sit here for a second. They have their hand on him, right? Loose C grip on the elbow. And then all of a sudden, suspect fucking takes off, jumps off of a 2nd story parking structure with concertina wire all over it, fucking clears it, and clears the bottom onto the steps or onto the sidewalk below, takes off running. Yeah. And handcuffed. He survived.
I have some backstory on this if you want it.
But they got in trouble.
You can tell this is the East Coast because they don't refer to the person as the suspect. The news article, the police referred to him as the actor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's an actor.
That's Boston.
He's a bad actor. This is Pennsylvania.
Oh, God.
Okay, so a disturbing video. It wasn't that disturbing. It was kind of funny. A disturbing video sent to KDKA TV shows the moments a wanted man jumps to his death from a window in an attempt to get away from police. Officers were walking the suspect down the steps in handcuffs when he jumped headfirst through the third floor window onto the sidewalk below on Saturday. Video, this was January 1st, I guess, was when this was posted. So this happens, this was pretty recent. The video seen by thousands on social media is disturbing to watch. Not really. Watching the video is so upsetting, neighbor Bonnie said. Not really. State police and the police department got a call from the owner of an abandoned building on North Pittsburgh Street on Saturday night for a man squatting inside the building. Searching the building, they located, quote, they located the actor on the fourth floor of that building. This actor was positively identified as piece of shit. He was arrested and immediately placed in handcuffs. While in custody, officers learned he was wanted for attempted homicide stemming from an incident on December 15th when he allegedly attacked another woman with a crowbar in a convenience store parking lot. There you go. So I read it in the proper. If he's an actor, then you know it's East Coast. When they were making their way down steps, the video catches the moment he gets away from cops. He didn't get away from the cops. He was handcuffed, but they didn't have hold of him. He plunges headfirst through the third floor stairwell window. He was taken to Highlands Hospital and later transported to Frick Hospital, where he was pronounced deceased. Witnesses say it was very traumatic and something they won't forget. I would say it would be something I wouldn't forget, but I wouldn't say it was traumatic. It says, I don't know what he was thinking, what was going on, why he would plunge through the window. It's very sad. I feel bad for his parents. If he had kids, brothers, and sisters. Yeah. I mean, sometimes the gene pool needs a little dose of chlorine.
Yeah.
And
so if you're walking a suspect down fucking stairs, have a hold of him. We've all been there. Complacency kills, bro. And this is a good example of it. You are complacent with a suspect. So you're like, whatever. He's just squatting. Let's just escort him out. We'll fucking maybe even dust him off downstairs and say, get the fuck out of here. Or we're going to arrest him for trespassing, fucking misdemeanor. And he'll spend a couple nights in lockup and then be back out on the streets and eventually get a warrant for it. Whatever. So you're walking him down the stairs. Hey, just keep going, keep going, keep going. Oh, fuck. Hey, Patty, He fucking flew out the window. Type of like you keep your fucking keep your hands on this suspect. Yeah. Keep your hands on the suspect, because if you don't and they get hurt, they are going to come and fucking hammer you hard.
Yeah.
So these cops are going to
there's a lawsuit coming. I don't know. I think in this situation, they will probably say the police officers should have maintained a grip on him, but depending on why the officers say they didn't, like if they said we were trying to get a grip on him, he was just walking down the stairs, like he pulled out of my hand, he was walking down the stairs faster than I could, who knows?
There's a gray area to it.
There's shit happens, right? We get that, but the rule that Chuck's saying, and I think is correct, is once you put cuffs on somebody, keep your hands on them if you can. There's no reason not to keep your hands on somebody you've cuffed up. Contact equals control, space equals escape. So, just keep the hand around the bicep at the elbow. You can chicken wing them if you need to. There's all kinds of control holds. They're cuffed. If they're being combative and resistive, then hobble their ass and get another person and carry him.
Exactly. Yeah. Spit sock and whatever you got to do.
Yeah. Again, time. These are people who just don't want to go with the program, and time is on your side.
And I've seen it to where like the cops were like, "Oh, he was super cool. Like we had a loose grip on him," and then all of a sudden we were just kind of talking, and then he just took off, and now we can't find him. Right. The cops still got in trouble. No one died because, and so no one died, but the cops still got in trouble, and they got arrested, or not arrested, but they got in trouble because they had to let a handcuffed suspect get away in their handcuffs, and they took they got a negative comment card or some crazy shit. The one I saw jump off the fucking jail fucking parking ramp over Constantine wire, the officers I think got desk duty for a little bit, and that was it. And that dude didn't die, and he broke his ankles, and I was sat at the fucking hospital with this fucking dingbat after we got him in a fucking, what do you call it, in a perimeter. Now this dude died. In custody deaths are never good. I've only seen a couple cops get fucked and actually fired for in custody deaths. I don't see these guys getting fired. I think they'll be able to articulate the reason.
I don't even think they'll get days on the beat.
Able to grab him through the fucking window. Like it was unexpected. It wasn't like,
I would say reprimand. they'll get a
Yeah.
formal reprimand in a turd in their jacket. That's probably it. That's what I would say.
They did nothing malicious.
They'll get
It's just-
retrained on proper police control holds. They'll do it. They'll have to go back to Risty Tristy training. I don't know.
Yep. And then we'll be able to promote for a little bit, for like 3 years.
Oh, and here, by the way, if you think that your department won't screw you over, I'm talking to you right now. See me? Talking to you, right? You watching this on YouTube. You right there. Yeah, you. Yes, you. No, not the guy. No, you. Okay, good. Now you got your attention. If you think your department won't screw you over in a high-profile case, let me tell you that when Rodney King happened, and it's a true story because I've spoken to the people that were there. When Rodney King happened, the guys directing traffic 2 blocks away, making sure that the arrest scene was secured. So imagine pursuit gets terminated. You get told, go block traffic at the corner of walk and don't walk and keep the intersection clear. The guys directing traffic still got 2 weeks administrative leave while that case was being investigated, just in case. 2 weeks. Now, paid administrative leave, but it's still administrative leave for guys directing traffic 2 blocks away from a beating that ended up on the news and was a PR nightmare for that agency. So if you think your department won't do something like that to you, you're wrong, brother. You're wrong. Okay. That's it. Remember that. Write it down. Take a picture of it. Something. And for those of you watching on YouTube, you gotta watch this stuff on YouTube if you want to see those videos, or you go to our Instagram and you will see, because most of that stuff is posted up there. So yeah, that's it. That was our debrief. We've gone a little bit over. So what we can tell you is, while Chuck is dealing with a technical difficulty on his end, you can, if you want to be a guest, reach us at booking.warstories@gmail.com. Or if you want to send us a video, ask us to debrief it, you can send it to us on social media, or better yet, email it to us, because we get so many things forwarded to us on social media that we don't know when you want us to debrief it or when you just want us to see that it was cool. So email to mailbag.warstories@gmail.com, or if you want to get on the show, booking.warstories@gmail.com. And
correct.
I don't know. That's all for me. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, I second all that. Thank you guys for listening. If you like today's episode, you like today's show, please like and share, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit, funny mumbo jumbo. Go to our YouTube, go to our Instagram, go to our Facebook. Click the link in the bio. Do all that good stuff. And
the best way to support us is tell your friends and share and like get other people to listen to us. That's the best way. That's literally the best way you can support us, is to get other people into it.
Yep. And go to our website.
Yep. All right.
So,
well, until our next episode, come home with your shield or on it.